Hello, in this video we'll be talking on how to launch your Amazon product using PPC. Our guest today will be Chris Rawlings from Sophie Society. You can check also more videos with Chris on our YouTube channel. You will find some links at the top and below in the description. Also, if you want to learn more about Chris and how can they help, you can find the link in the description to Sophie Society as well. So you will learn today 5 steps how to launch your product primarily using PPC. I wanted to mention that this session is sponsored by 3 companies, Awesome, Zonguru, and Getida. Awesome is it's a FBA aggregator created by ex-Amazonians for Amazon sellers. If you want or plan to sell your Amazon brand, check their contact details and the link to their website so you can contact and talk to them. Maybe they will acquire you. Getida is a audit and reimbursement solution for Amazon sellers. They can help you to get money back from Amazon. Again, the offer and the link below in the description. And finally, Zonguru, it's a all-in-one suite for Amazon sellers, suitable for any stage of your Amazon business. And again, Zonguru has a special offer for the viewers, and you will find the link below in the description. And now I would like to invite our speaker.
Let's get ready for Chris Rawlings at the Klik Summit.
Hi, Chris. Happy to have you here.
Hi, Zach. Great to be with you again.
All right, Chris. So today we have a really cool topic for you to present. But before we dive into it, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do in the Amazon space and how Sophie Society helps Amazon sellers?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was about 6 years ago. I started my first brand that became a 7-figure international Amazon brand. And I piggybacked off that to start a product launch company called Judo Launch. And I raised money in Silicon Valley from venture capitalists and took that whole route in Silicon Valley. That then ended up opening up the opportunity for me to start Sophie Society, which is what I do now. And Sophie Society focuses on increasing conversions for Amazon listings and adding traffic to Amazon listings. Just those 2 things, getting better conversions through better content and more traffic. And the whole thing that I've been able to add to this industry of Amazon selling is a science focus, a data focus, which you'll see in my presentation that we're about to go through. But I actually have a degree in physics. I thought I was going to be a physics researcher the first 2 whole decades of my life. And then somehow ended up through the winding roads of life, ending up in business, but kept that scientific method, and everything we do is based on data. Every single listing we work on, we track the data, the sessions, the conversion rate, all of the PPC data before and after, no matter how big or how small the project. And and so we're about to dive into some of that data and some of that data-focused mindset and the success that brings when you keep a mindset like that. Now, in this presentation about PPC launching.
Okay, cool. So can you give us, before we open your presentation, can you give us like a short overview? What exactly will you share with us tonight?
Yeah, so I'm basically, like I said, half of Sophie Society is about increasing conversions of listings. Half of it is about adding traffic to listings. So the traffic side, most of what we focus on is Amazon PPC. And with our own businesses and businesses that pay us to, we manage their PPC, and we've done this for years, and we develop our own school of thought for this. We don't just follow blogs or SEO articles. We actually develop our own internal school for PPC. And what I'm about to go over to today is the data-backed method that we use to launch products using PPC. So this is new product launches, or this is stale products that need to be relaunched, meaning they need to get re-ranking for organic keywords. And this is a very specific type of PPC. We call it the Catapult because of the way that we lay it out in the honeymoon period of a new product going live. And it doesn't require anything else. It doesn't require you starting with reviews necessarily. It doesn't require you doing any external traffic. It's just PPC alone. And I'm going to go over those other things that affect the launch that you can do to support it. But this is PPC, launching with PPC on Amazon.
Okay, sounds really interesting. So we are ready So if you're ready as well, then let's have you sharing your screen, and then let's go into your presentation.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so again, this is the Catapult method that we use to launch products on Amazon. We've done this with hundreds upon hundreds of products. We've honed this method over a period of years, and we do this on tons of accounts, our own accounts and external accounts. Make sure to stick around to the end. At the very end, I'm going to give you some cool little weird bonus tips, including how to advertise on Amazon for free. For those of you that are really on a shoestring budget, there are a few ways you can actually advertise on Amazon for free. That's real. And then I'm going to show you ways to increase your PPC performance outside of PPC campaign management directly, and a tool to automate external traffic to support your launch. So let's talk about the mindset around PPC launch first before we get into the actual steps. And I'm going to break this down for you guys. I'm going to break it all the way down to the timeline, to the campaign structure. I'm going to break down everything. So we're going to start high level. We're going to go deep, and then we're going to come back up into mindset. So don't worry, we're going to go as deep as possible. So PPC, you have to think of as an investment in your product, not a separate cost. Like when you're spending on PPC, especially during the launch, you shouldn't be focused on getting profitable sales during this period. What you should be focused on is getting organic ranking that sticks, and getting the other things necessary for a product to be considered a successful launch, like sales velocity and some reviews. That's what we're focused on here. We're not focused on generating immediate profit. This is an investment in the future product cash cow that this listing will be. Make sure to use this. This is what I'm talking about with the data backing. All decisions should be data backed. Use data to make your decisions. Make sure that you allow enough time to get good data. Allow enough time to pass to get good data. You can't rush this. There's two basic types of advertising on Amazon. If you break it down, you could break it down into search-based advertising and browse-based advertising. We're going to be mostly focused on this search-based advertising during launch, but just keep in mind that depending on how wide spectrum you want to go, you can use these different types of advertising. And now a quick note on this before we go forward. Browse-based advertising tends to be better when the product is really interesting or really new or really sexy and cool or really different. It's great for Kickstarter products. It's great for Amazon Launchpad type products. Browse-based advertising is good for that. And that's why when you're on Instagram, you see sponsored stories for products that you never even knew existed, like some kind of for your face that opens your pores, or some kind of like gadget that you can use to unlock your car. Like things that you wouldn't search for, you find on browse-based advertising. Search-based advertising is great for just commodities, and most of Amazon tends to be that, and that's why most of Amazon advertising dollars are spent on these types of advertising: sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored video. In browse, you have sponsored display, product placement, sponsored video as well, Amazon live video, and posts. And these are things that you can see without necessarily searching for them. You'll be on a different listing or be somewhere on Amazon, and you can see these ads. Okay, so that's the difference between search and browse based. All Amazon advertising falls into one of those two categories. Now, the data tracking part. This is the least sexy part of the product launch that doesn't give you a hack or some new trick, but is the most important part actually of you executing a successful launch. Because if you track data, you have the ability to make good decisions. The launch is not going to go the same every time. A launch is like its own beast, its own animal. You don't ever see the same exact thing happen twice. You have to be able to react to the direction in which the launch is going. And that's why tracking data is so important. It doesn't matter exactly how you do this. I'm going to show you how we do it in Sophie and how we do it in the mastermind group that I'm a mentor and leader in, the Titan Network. And that looks something like this. You're basically tracking all the key metrics every single day. And the most important part is right over here. I know you guys can't read this. It's okay. I'm just showing you how big this is. each day, we're tracking all of this data. And this is the basic data like sessions, conversion rate, sales. But then the most important thing is you track organic sales versus PPC sales versus rebate sales, and then track the review count and the number of reviews you got. And then the most important thing, tracking the ranking for each of your top 4 or top 5 keywords. That's potentially the most important part of this. And that's why actually in Titan, part of what we teach is to have these color coded so you can see at a glance how your ranking is improving, which you can see in this one. The ranking is improving, or looks like it's improving over time. Okay, so here's some of the most important data to track. You set up your own tracker. It's literally easy to set up, just a Google Sheet. You have the days in the columns, the days in the rows, and then the metrics in the columns. Again, the most important thing is top 4 keyword ranking, review count, PPC sales, organic sales, and rebate sales. Very important that you break this down. Your ACOS, your TACOS. ACOS is average cost of sales. TACOS is total average cost of sales, or true average cost of sales. That's your advertising spend divided by your total sales, instead of ACOS, which is advertising spend divided by advertising sales, for those of you that don't know. The sessions, the number of hits that the listing got, and the conversion rate. So this is the most important thing, guys. This is foundational. And this might sound daunting. Oh, like tracking all this data every single day, maybe weekly, but every day. Yes, every day, especially during a launch or a relaunch. This is so critically important. And you know what? It only takes 15 minutes to fill this in every day. This is something that a VA can do, or a data analyst. That's the cheapest labor you can get online, is data analysis. It's like $3 an hour or something. So it literally actually costs you near nothing for you to get this done. Now let's get into it. So in the launch, the primary goal is to get sales velocity from high relevance keywords to rank. Now that should actually say high relevance and high as possible volume keywords to rank. Okay, so in the beginning, when you're launching a brand new product, you have a 35-day honeymoon period where Amazon is there determining what your ranking is going to be, and building up a bank of data about your product. This is such a key period, because if you botch this up, you have just ruined the beginning of your product, where Amazon is collecting critical data about it. You want to show Amazon that from the beginning, from the get-go, this is a popular product. This is a product people search for. This is a product people buy when they find it on their site. And then Amazon, it kickstarts this reinforcing feedback loop where Amazon decides to give it more visibility, and then it gets more sessions and it gets even more sales, which causes Amazon to give it even more visibility. And that's when you get a ranking that sticks. You got to track your KPIs daily during the launch. The ACOS, prepare for it to be up to 100% or more. That means if I'm selling a $30 product, I'm paying $30 in advertising to sell the product, and that is not profitable. Okay, if I have a 30% profit margin on a product, then I can't spend more than a 30% ACOS to be profitable. So again, you have to update your mindset about this, because if you're expecting to make profitable sales off the get-go on a new product, it's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. Okay, so remember, your success is measured not by PPC profit, but by the organic ranking results and how you stick that ranking result. Okay, you want to eventually get to the point where you have break-even ACOS. Your ACOS equals your profit margin, and you have campaigns where you have profitable advertising as well. But you have to, again, think of PPC as an investment. Don't think of it as a cost. You're going to have a ranking campaign. We're going to dive deep into this. I'm going to show you guys screenshots and everything. You're going to have a ranking campaign for each of your top 4, top 5 target keywords. You're going to have a research campaign with starting lists of high relevance keywords from your research. You're going to have a performance campaign, a discover campaign using auto targeting, but you don't turn this on until later. I'll show you guys the timeline of this. And then you have a product placement ad targeting products that are lower quality or worse rating or higher price. Okay. And this is basically the overview of what your launch is going to look like. And the way you structure these campaigns, I'm going to show you a screenshot, but you want to have one portfolio for each product, and then you separate out the campaigns like this. Now, let's dig into it. But real quick, an overview of Amazon ad channels. You have sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored video, sponsored display. Then you have Amazon DSP. A lot of you guys will probably not even be using this. This is both on Amazon and off Amazon. There are audio ads, which I think are going to get more and more important as time goes on. And then these are the 3 free ways to advertise on Amazon. You have Amazon storefronts, which is part of Amazon advertising. The more you build out your storefront, it's literally free to do this. The more you build out your storefront, and I'm going to show you guys screenshots of this later, all of this. The more you build out your storefront, the more free real estate you get on Amazon's site. And a little hint here is that if you look at the trend of Amazon in the last 2 to 3 years, they're putting more and more importance and more focus on the browsing of Amazon and the content inside Amazon. You see really creative content. I showed in one of the previous presentations I did with Augustus, this Chris Pratt influencer video that was like funny and cute, and it was all of the products that he loved on Amazon. They're doing more and more of that. Then you have posts again, which is free. You can make posts for free. Okay. And this gives you visibility on Amazon. And then Amazon Live Video again is free. So for those of you that have a big budget, that's great, and you can crush it with PPC during the launch. For those of you that have smaller budgets, there are actually ways for you to be really scrappy and really creative on Amazon, and just use whatever strength you have. If you have the money and the budget, use very aggressive PPC and get a higher ACOS so that you can get more sessions to your listing. That's going to help you in the long term with your organic ranking. If you're on a shoestring budget, you could do as much as you can with PPC, but use the free stuff and use your own hustle, both on and off Amazon, to get the traffic that you need to make it work. But there's no excuse. Anybody can do it no matter what kind of budget you're working on. And that's the point that I want to make in this video. Okay, so here's some optional external launch support. You have rebates, rebate key or HPUC. Many chat campaigns, you can use Seller Tools or EasyBot to set this up automatically for you that are specifically for Amazon businesses. Google traffic, you can do this via manual campaigns yourself or use Amped. Amped is a service that sets up Google traffic to Amazon listings specifically, and they basically automate it for one-click setup. TikTok ads, this is growing hugely in popularity. You guys may have seen some other presentations by Lazar from Seller Alley, who's really way into this. And we're seeing a lot of sellers using a lot of both organic and advertising on TikTok to drive a lot of sales, actually significant amounts of sales inside the Titan network. We're seeing this a lot. Your own owned audience, this can be email or ManyChat, and I'll show you like part of how you can use the launch to build, or organic social, which could be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. But again, this is if you're hustling. I wouldn't recommend this unless you're really in a hustle and you really are in a bind and you want to spend time versus instead of spending money, because it takes a while to build up, and it really is a hustle. It takes your time. But again, there's no excuse. You can do a shoestring budget launch and still be successful, or you can do a high budget launch and be successful and use money instead of time. This is where sponsored product placement ads are. I just wanted to show this for those of you guys that don't know. This is a listing. It's in the middle of the listing, and it says sponsored products related to this item. This is just as a benchmark for you guys to know what's normal. So am I normal? Am I not normal? On average, brands get about 35% of their sales from Amazon ads long term. And this is like for a whole account. So this can go up to 50% for consumable products like supplements or cleaning products. It can go down to 20% for products that are able to get more of their traffic from organic ranking. But you can generally say if you're getting about 35% of your sales from Amazon advertising, you're in the right zone. You're about average, and it's healthy. It's healthy to get about 35% of your sales. During a launch, it can be 60% plus. It can be 60% up to 80% of your sales coming from Amazon ads for that product, not for the whole account, but for that product. So that, just so you guys know if you're normal or not. So now I'm going to walk through the stages of the launch. The last thing I'm going to cover before that is the foundation of the listing. Now, again, this is one of the boring subjects. It's not a cool hack. It's not, a secret, but it's so important. My experience in this business is doing the boring, important stuff is much more effective, and the most successful sellers focus on that rather than the sexy but less important stuff like hacks and tricks and stuff like that. Okay, so that's my experience. The biggest sellers, they focus on being really, really good at the boring but important stuff. Okay, remember that. That's some like deep wisdom that you can write down. This is my observation over years of being in this industry. So the primary image is the most important, okay, especially during the launch, because you don't have as many reviews, or maybe you don't have any reviews to start with. You need to be able to win that click. Okay, there's a really quick story I'm going to tell here about how important this can be. And that is, many of you guys may know Thrasio, which is an aggregator in the space. When they just started out, it was I believe it was their first year of being in business, acquiring Amazon businesses and growing them. They acquired a business that was pet cleaning products, and it was called Angry Orange. And they actually changed the primary image of the breadwinner product and either doubled or tripled the business basically overnight. And the way they did that was they made the image, first of all, they made the product take up nearly the entire image, that entire square of the listing primary image. And they changed the color to make it bold and bright and in your face with big text. And this changed the game completely, because everything else on the front page for the primary keyword for that product was small text, a long bottle that had a lot of different colors and shapes and text on it, and you couldn't read it from search results. And this became the only product that was in your face, had a bold color, and it was big, and it took up the whole screen. And they literally multiplied their business overnight by doing this. That's how important this is. So a lot of people will overlook this or know it's important, but not think too much about it. This is the most important thing when it comes to winning the click, is the primary image, more important than literally anything else. You want your conversion rate to be between 20 and 30%. If you're doing rebates, you can artificially increase this too much. If your conversion rate goes to like 90% or 100%, that's actually a red flag to Amazon. So this can go up to like 50%. It's fine, but you don't want it to go to an unholy level like 90% by using rebates. This is that are consumable products that have conversion rates of 60, 70%, even 80% I've seen. So it's not an alarm if you're outside of this range, but this is generally how you know if you're in a healthy range on Amazon. So let's talk about reviews. Here's the review milestone. That is the first milestone you hit is 5 reviews. Now, my recommendation is, when it comes to a PPC launch, is get those reviews as quickly as you possibly can, almost immediately if you can, and just beg, borrow, steal, make sure it happens one way or another. Okay, you can do this without ensuring yourself that these reviews get on the listing, but I really recommend it because it does have a dramatic, this is what we see is once you get to 5, there's a big difference between 0 and 1 and 2. When you get to 5, this is a really big milestone. So you can do it without doing this, and you can get the reviews just through like going really hard and following the PPC protocol I'm sharing with you guys now. But doing this will help immensely. And it really has an outsized impact on the listing. The rest of the reviews, you can count on the sales. You can count on if you're doing a rebate campaign, you can count on the rebates. You can count on your listing product insert to, in a Amazon compliant way, lead to getting you reviews. But it will really help you if you make sure that those 5 reviews are there in the beginning. Again, not required. And I've seen plenty of successful launches that just allow reviews to come in organically themselves. But if you can make sure that those 5 reviews come in the beginning, it's going to give you a leg up. And again, if you're scrappy and you're trying to do this on the budget, you should definitely be doing this, because you need every free thing that can possibly help you. If you have a big budget, you can overcome this by just spending more and driving more traffic and more sales. Okay. The next review milestone is 21 reviews. We see a big difference, and there's something special about this number. I don't know what it is. It might be even internal to Amazon, but once you get to 21 reviews, there's something clicks. And a lot of times this will happen during your launch phase. And so just keep this in mind. Like if you have targets in your head during the initial launch of a product, these two numbers should be celebrated, and they should be critical milestones in the data that you are tracking. The review rating has to stay above 4.3 stars. Has to. Okay, this is so key, because if you don't do this, you don't show the visualization of 4.5 stars on the listing search results, and it's gonna really hurt the click once you get down to 4. And if you're at 3.5 on the visualization, forget about it. You just need to focus on reviews exclusively until you get up to 4. But really, you want to get to that minimum of 4.3 so that you have that 4.5 star rating visualization. Okay. All right. So there's 3 main phases of the launch. There's establish, optimize, and catapult. This is how we delineate it. You can call it whatever you want, but for the purpose of this presentation, follow along with me here. And I'm going to walk you through these phases and what you're going to do during these phases. Okay. So phase 1, which I'm actually going to walk you through some screenshots of how to do this, is identifying your primary keywords. Okay. Again, this is foundation laying stuff. You have to lay the foundation first before you can do the sexy, cool stuff and the hacks and all of that. Okay. So this lays the foundation. If you've done everything we've talked to up until now, this lays the foundation for the successful launch. Okay. This is everything you need to do to set up the launch. And once it's set up, you've actually done like 90% of the work. The optimization and the turning on additional campaigns later on down the line is how you follow up with this. But this is actually a majority of what constitutes the work of doing a launch, of executing a launch, is right here. Okay. So we're going to walk through each of these steps. Identify primary keywords, and I recommend 4 or 5 and no more. You want to be able to focus on just a few, and that's going to be your success indicator. Okay. This is basically exclusively your success indicator. We even color code it, like I showed earlier. You're going to identify extended primary keywords, and I recommend about 40. This could be more. You could go up to 60. You could go up to 80, or it could be less. You could go down to 30 or 20. But you're going to identify a set of extended primary keywords. You're going to identify product targets. Okay. Again, I recommend about 40. You could do less or more, but about 40 is good. Then you set up the campaign structure and set up any external sources you are going to use. Again, this is optional. You can run this protocol and successfully launch products without doing anything else. But I want to mention the other things that do support a successful launch for those of you that do want to use them. Okay. But trust, you can use this system to successfully launch a product with just PPC. Okay. We do it all the time. This works really, really, really well if you do it right and you make sure the foundation is in place before you do all this cool, sexy stuff. All right. Phase 1 of the second section of a launch is optimize, analyze campaigns, adjust bids, graduate keywords in the hierarchy, which I'll lay out for you in a second. Then only now do you turn on auto campaigns. Okay. I'm going to show this all laid out in a timeline so you guys can see, but you don't turn on auto campaigns in the beginning. This is going to be a big shocker to a lot of you guys. You don't use auto campaigns in the beginning. And the reason for that is Amazon doesn't have enough history on what's considered relevant and what converts for your listing when you first make it live. It has no sales history, has no data on your product at all, except for what you've given them on the listing itself. As time goes on, Amazon just collects more and more and more data, where people clicked to your listing from, what they were searching when they clicked to your listing, what the conversion rate on average is from this versus that search type or browse type that got them there. They collect all kinds of data to help figure out where your listing is going to show and how much visibility your listing is going to get. But in the beginning, they don't have any data. So you turning on auto campaigns is you flushing your money down the toilet, literally. And you'll probably see, maybe even during this event, other people present a completely different advice than this. I'm telling you this based on our experience managing these launches and our experience launching products via PPC, is that you will save yourself a ton of money and ACOS by not turning on your auto campaigns until 2 weeks into your launch, when you've had enough sales data for Amazon to actually effectively target keywords for you. Okay, this is a really big. If you're talking about hacks, this is one of the biggest hacks or tricks that I can share with you guys. Is wait 2 weeks, and I'm going to show you how this won't hurt your launch at all. This is not going to hurt the amount of traffic that you get at all. And I'm going to show you how. During this phase, you're also sharpening your ACOS targets and getting ACOS under control in some of your campaigns, and you're doubling down on the ranking campaigns. In the Catapult phase, there's more bid adjustments. Your negative exact matching keywords in the auto campaign, if you have enough data to. You're setting up long-term campaign structure, which I'll lead you guys through. That includes the research campaigns, performance campaigns, and discovery campaigns. You should have over 21 reviews by this point at the end of the launch period, and you're going to start ranking up your campaign ranking campaign spend big time. And that's actually why we call it Catapult, because at this point, this is once you've built a solid launch foundation for the product over the past 3 weeks, then you ramp up the spend all at once really fast once you reach this last phase, and it can catapult your listing ranking straight to the top. And it's amazing what happens when you execute this well. Sometimes you can stick a top ranking for a significant volume search term or set of search terms and permanently stay there if you do this right. All right, so let's walk through each of these steps for setting the foundation of the launch in the beginning. Again, like I said, this is actually 90% of the work here. Okay, so I'm using Helium 10 as an example with this, but you can use whatever product you want. There's AMZ Scout, can do the same thing. Inside Titan, there's the Mufasa tool that can work if you are a Titan member. But whatever software suits your fancy, you can use. I'm using Helium 10 because most people know and have this. So you're going to start by identifying primary keywords by starting with your own keyword. Now, I know this is small text for you guys. I'm going to walk you through this. I'm just showing you screenshots so that you can get a holistic picture of what we're looking at here. But I typed in omega-3 for dogs. So I'm using this as an example, okay? Omega-3 for dogs is my product. And you start with what is the simplest name of your product that you would search for, that someone would search for if they were searching for your product, okay? So you're starting with that, and you search that term in your keyword tool. In this case, we're using Helium 10's keyword tool. And then you're going to sort by search volume, okay? This arrow is pointing towards the column that's labeled search volume. And then you're going to start from the top, and you're going to see keywords probably with, could be 100,000, could be 500,000. There have even been keywords with 1 million searches a month, especially during really critical times. But in general, you're looking for keywords between 1,000 and 20,000 searches a month to be your primary keywords. If you're really going niche, you could take this down to 500 keywords. And if you're really going ham and you have a big budget, I'm talking if you have $100,000 launch budget or $200,000 launch budget for this product. I know most of you guys are not going to have that, but if you have that, you can go above that 20,000 searches per month for your primary keywords. But for most of you guys, it's probably going to sit between 1,000 searches per month and 20,000 searches per month. And I would venture to say for a lot of you guys, it'll probably end up being between 1,000 and 10,000, a lot of the search terms. But you can see in this case, this is actually a fairly high competitive market, supplements for dogs, and specifically omega-3 for dogs. But you can see that there are products that come up here that have both the volume and the relevance. So you're going to pick out the keywords that have the highest possible relevance, meaning they most accurately describe your product and most specifically describe your product, while also having the highest amount of volume possible. Okay, and this is a mix because for this product, something that would be considered very low relevance in this space but super high volume would be just omega-3 supplement. Okay, the problem is it's not specifying that it's for dogs. That search term might have 200,000, 300,000 searches a month. That's tons of volume, and that's great because the more volume, the more sales you get when you organically rank for it. But if you don't have enough relevance, meaning that term doesn't apply specifically enough to your product, you won't stick that ranking even if you do everything that we talk about right. Okay, so the search term has to have high relevance. Omega-3 for dogs. An example on the other side of the spectrum is omega-3 for dogs, 10 milligram chewable. Okay, that's super high relevance, but that term might only get 100 searches a month. Okay, so it might not be worth ranking for. If you can find one that gets 5,000 searches per month and it's also relevant, like for instance, fish oil supplement for dogs. Okay, this accurately describes our product. It's specific to the exact audience that our product is selling to, and it's getting a significant amount of volume. Say that search term gets 5,000 searches a month. That would be a perfect one for one of our 4 or 5 primary keywords. Okay, so that's what you're looking for there. In identifying extended primary keywords, I'm going to show you what our process is for that. We're going to pick out the top 10 competitors that are selling the same product, because if you search on page 1 for your primary keyword, again, I have omega-3 for dogs in here. If you search on page 1 for your top primary keyword, there's not always going to be products that come up that are actually your product. So you want to identify 10 competitors on the front page that are your product. Okay, that are actually your product, because things might come up here for cats. Things might come up here that are supplements for dogs that are not omega-3. Those would be things that we would not include in our top 10 competitors. Okay, you're going to find the top 10 competitors. You're going to input them. Again, I know this is you can't read this. The point isn't you don't need to read this. Just follow along here. This is the reverse ASIN tool in Helium 10. You're going to you can use reverse ASIN tools in other companies as well. It doesn't have to be Helium 10. I'm using this as an example though, because this is what a lot of people know. You're going to put all 10 ASINs in. You're going to filter in the advanced filter by at least 5 of the competitors ranking for the keyword. Okay. And then the reverse ASIN is going to spit out a list of super high relevance, high volume keywords, because you have the top competitors that are selling the exact product you're selling, and at least 5 of them are ranking. You know that at least 5 of them are ranking for this keyword. Now you're going to end up with keywords that are super high relevance. Now I know you guys can't read this. I'm going to read you a couple of these keywords here. Okay, so you have omega-3 for dogs. You have fish oil for dogs. These keywords are keywords that are actually super high relevance, and they're getting a significant amount of traffic. You're going to sift through these, and this is how most of these are actually going to be really good candidates for your extended primary keywords list. But you're going to be able to go much deeper into the high relevance portion of that scale, from high relevance to high volume. You're going to go deeper and deeper into the high relevance, and you can have less and less actual volume, because we're going for keywords that are going to bring us high conversion rate. Okay, that's the point here, because the top 4, they needed to have a significant amount of volume. These can have less volume. They can have 500, they can have 300 searches per month, but you're going to add them to the list. And this is going to be critical down the line. Then you're identifying product targets. Okay, this is where we're going to advertise our product on their page for that other section of Amazon advertising that we talked about in the beginning, which is browse. So this is for the browse-based advertising. You're looking for products with higher price than you, but lower quality of product. You're looking for 4 stars or less. It's great if you can get a 3.5-star product that's somehow doing a bunch of volume and getting a bunch of sessions, because you have a really good chance of people clicking off of that and clicking onto yours. And then this is one of the key secrets here. Again, this is something you can do if you're really hustling. If your budget isn't like $100,000 or $300,000 for your product launch, get real deep into searching for products that have missing features, with top critical reviews mentioning those missing features that your product isn't missing. Okay, it doesn't have to be something groundbreaking, but if you find products that are missing some kind of feature, like the cap doesn't pop off, it screws off, and that takes too much time every morning, or it doesn't have like an easy open package, something simple that people are complaining about in the product reviews, especially if they're in the top voted, that yours does have, because then you have a really high probability that they're going to click off the listing. And when they click off the listing and onto yours from your product placement ads, that they're actually going to purchase yours because they clicked off because of what they saw in the reviews, saw that yours didn't have that problem or did have that feature, and then did buy it. So this is something that you hustlers out there can spend time on getting really right. Okay, then you're setting up your campaign structure once you've done all of the research. You're going to use one portfolio per product, one campaign per goal. We went over the campaign structure, but you can have exact match campaigns for the primary keywords and broad match campaigns for the extended primary keywords. So that's what you're doing with these keywords. Okay, and then you have your ASIN targeting campaign. That's your product targeting campaign. The broad match campaigns are what replace what normally would be an auto campaign in the first 14 days of a launch. Okay, this is why you don't start with an auto campaign. You start with these broad match campaigns. You can also do phrase match if you have more. If you have a ton of extended primary keywords, you can skip the broad and get even more specific and just do phrase. But this is how we run it. Broad match campaigns mean you put the keyword in and it can change the keyword and it can even change the order of the words. But they can't, Amazon won't run campaigns that don't have those words in them. So you're not going to have campaigns that Amazon is running for cat supplements, which it would do otherwise because it has absolutely no sales data. And the algorithm is just dumb at this point because it doesn't have enough data to make it smart. So that's why you're wasting a ton of money when you start off the bat with auto campaigns instead of starting with broad campaigns until you get enough sales data to feed Amazon's algorithm and then turn on the auto campaigns. Okay. So this is what generally the structure looks like. The portfolios that you see on the side here, those are products. Okay. And then down here, the campaigns, these, you can think of each campaign as a goal. Okay. So you can think of portfolios as products, campaigns as goals. So each of your products gets its own portfolio, and inside the portfolio is all that product's campaigns. You never have same product in different portfolios. That makes it impossible for you to get product by product advertising data, which will make it really hard for you to make data-backed decisions. Okay. And then inside each portfolio for that product, every goal that you have for the product gets its own campaign. Okay. So a ranking campaign should not be mixed up with a for-profit campaign. Ranking campaigns for the top primary keywords should not be mixed up with ranking campaigns for the extended keywords. Okay. So yeah, think of it that way. Now the external sources, the main external sources that you're going to want to set up, if you set them up, is either a rebate campaign using a rebate platform like Rebate Key or HBuck, or ManyChat, and using a tool like Seller Tools or EasyBot. You're going to do 1 to 10 rebates per day if you set this up, and you're going to target for the first 14 days doing 1 to 10 rebates per day. And then you can continue that past the 14 days throughout the entire first 35 days of the honeymoon period. Even if it's a relaunch, you can still count 35 days, for the relaunch, because you want to follow it day by day by day. If you have a stale product that you're relaunching with this method, it can work equally well, but you need to treat it this exact same way you would treat a new product launch. It should be checked on daily, tracked daily. It needs a ton of attention in these early days, early hours. So yeah, remember when you're doing the rebates, you don't want to set off Amazon's alarm bells by having too many of your sales coming from rebates. If like 90% of your sales are coming from rebates, you're going to have a ridiculously outsized conversion rate. So just keep it under lock and key. Don't allow it to get too crazy. Okay, that's all I'll say. But I will say this helps a lot. For those of you that don't know, the way a rebate campaign works on one of these platforms is you drive traffic from purchasers on Amazon that get rebated either all or part of the product costs after they buy it. So that's why they're doing it. They're going on because they're getting a great deal, but they're actually paying full price on Amazon and they get rebated afterwards. So this is actually great for Amazon's algorithm because it's feeding the algorithm exactly what it wants. It's getting full price purchases from search the most relevant search terms. And so you're literally feeding the algorithm exactly what it wants. Again, this increases campaign costs during a launch. But I will say that it is critical. Even if you're only doing a few per day, it does help enormously. It really does help enormously because you're getting really high relevance high converting traffic to your listing, which is exactly what Amazon wants to see. If you have a little bit more time to set this up, ManyChat is actually a great way to do this because you're actually building an audience. And then the next time you can go back to that audience, instead of doing it from scratch, you're actually building an audience on Facebook Messenger that you can use for future launches. And that actually you can use as an asset. That's something you don't get when you use rebate platforms. Okay. All right. So here's the timeline laid out. This is what you'd call the honeymoon period. It's 35 days on Amazon, where Amazon is in the beginning, right when a product goes live. And this is for new products. They're being established, and Amazon is understanding what this product is, what terms are associated with it, what other listings should be associated with it, and everything about it. And you're setting the foundation of how Amazon's algorithm is going to understand and treat your product. Okay. So for the first 15 days, this is the established phase. You're doing keyword research, setting up broad campaigns, phrase campaigns, exact campaigns, but no auto campaigns. The product targeting campaigns, video campaigns are optional. But if you have a really cool product that's very visual or very cool to see, or it's new, like a Kickstarter type of product, this is critical. And this is not optional for you, because if you don't take this seriously, you're wasting a huge opportunity. We see certain types of products do really well on sponsored video campaigns. Certain types of products don't do well and just fail on video campaigns. And those are the products that are more boring, more monotonous. And hey, I love boring products. Boring products that sell are great, but those are not the ones that you want to do video campaigns for. You can get creative here and you can make it cool, especially if you have really interesting features. But this tends to have a much higher converting rate for products that are Kickstarter type products, or not even. They're just have visually appealing features that can be easily communicated via video. And then sponsored brand campaigns, this is also optional. You'll tend to get a higher ACOS for these campaigns in the very beginning. These sponsored brand campaigns are really good for more established brands and more established lines. But yeah, this is a type of campaign that you can use during launch during this first 15 days. Okay. So then you get to the next 10 days. This is the optimize period where we talked about. This is where you turn on the auto campaign. There you start bid adjusting based on ACOS, because you've got enough data at this point to actually make good decisions. Your negative exact matching keywords in the broad campaigns and phrase campaigns, and you're setting up your ACOS targets for once you leave the launch period, because an important part of this launch is setting yourself up for life after launch. Basically, what happens after this launch period is over? When do you exit the launch period and start your just normal product management? And then the last 10 days is what we call Catapult. The most important part of this is ramping up the ranking campaign spend big time. This is where you go big time on the ranking campaign spend. You increase the bids, increase the budgets for your ranking for your top 4 or top 5 primary keywords. And you can also do this for the extended keywords, but it's not necessary. But the most important thing is ramping up that campaign spend big time, because now you've got reviews, now you've got sales velocity, now you've got a relevance score from Amazon. You've got a lot of stuff you didn't have in the beginning. And this is why we call it Catapult, because you're still in the honeymoon period, but you've gained as much traction and as much proof as you can in the first 25 days. And now you go hard. And this can absolutely catapult a listing to the top of the rankings if you do it right. Especially if you've used some of these outside of PPC strategies that I mentioned, like rebates, for instance, or like ManyChat, or if you're scrappy, you're using the free Amazon advertising, doing everything possible to set up a good foundation for this listing. This is where you ramp up that ranking campaign spend big time. Okay, this is, if you're looking for a secret or for a hack, this is one of the most important ones right here, is that you get very aggressive once your listing has gotten a solid foundation. Okay, you're also going to be setting up long-term campaign structures here, negative exact matching for auto campaigns, and doing more bid adjustments. If you're wondering, hey, what if I'm not getting reviews during the launch? Well, the way that it's set up from the beginning to get reviews is ensure that your product, when people receive it, has some kind of enabling tool to allow them to leave reviews. Okay, you can't incentivize them to get reviews through any kind of financial incentive, and you can't incentivize them to give positive reviews, but you should be in your product packaging enabling them to leave reviews in the most elegant way possible that does comply with Amazon's terms of service. You can also do follow-up campaigns if you're building an audience on ManyChat, and you also can do your own guerrilla campaigns outside of Amazon. But this is a really important thing. You want to get to that first milestone of 5 reviews as soon as you possibly can, and that second milestone of 21 reviews as quickly as you can, and ideally during this honeymoon period. Okay. Now I want to quickly talk about this. So in terms of life after launch, setting up your product to succeed after launch, these are the basic 9 core campaign goal types. This isn't like on Amazon. This isn't like related to Amazon's advertising platform. Like, you're not going to find this on like data about Amazon, but this is how we think about it. These are the different types of campaign goals that you can have. And at any campaign that you set up should fall into one of these goals. It's discovery, meaning it's finding new keywords that might have a good ACOS for you to advertise on or target. Research, which is taking those keywords and finding the exact search terms. So meaning the exact letter by letter search term from a broader keyword, broad phrase, or from auto campaigns, and then taking those keywords and putting them in performance campaigns that you then optimize over time. So those are only exact match campaigns from keywords that we found through discovery and research campaigns that work really, really well. And so that's like kind of the engine of that's constantly running for each product. Then separate from that, you have these other goals. Those are only 3 goals out of all of them. Now, this is a vast majority of what you'll learn by reading blogs or watching videos on PPC is these first 3, but there are a lot more. Okay, so ranking is another goal that's potentially more important than any of them on this list, because like I said, especially with the atmosphere of PPC now, PPC costs are going up. Average portion of sales that are attributed to PPC for sellers are going up. PPC really should be considered a long-term investment. And a lot of that is investing in your organic ranking and keeping your organic ranking up when it is up, and getting it up when you're first launching a product or relaunching a product. Then there's brand attack goal, which means you are targeting another brand that you know has inferior products or higher price than you, and you are specifically targeting those products in search. You could do the exact same thing, which is brand attack in browse, which means you're doing product placement ads. Then there's brand defense, meaning keeping other brands from doing this to your brand, keeping the brand from advertising on your branded search terms. So if I have like Chris's omega-3 supplement for dogs, I'm going to make sure to advertise on those search terms, even though I'm literally paying for people that are already searching for my brand. Still worth it, because you're keeping other people from taking your sales. And then there's brand defense, browse, which means advertising your products on your own listings. This is another really key thing. If you're missing this, you're missing out big time. Is making sure that the sponsored products related to this product on your products are all your own other products. Some of you guys won't have enough products to do this, to fill out all those spaces, and that's fine. But just make sure every time you add products, it should be standard operating procedure to add product placement ads on all of your other products, because otherwise somebody else is getting that real estate. You want as much real estate as you possibly can get. And then video, we consider its own goal, because again, this can sometimes have really ridiculously good metrics. Like you can see, like we've had campaigns that have significant traffic and sales with like 12% ACOS or 9% ACOS, if this is done right. And it allows you more creative freedom. Like you actually have more creative control over this, because the creativity part of it, it's one of the few advertising styles on Amazon where you actually have creative freedom, which opens up an entire door for you to be able to beta test and really knock it out of the park with this. So I'm going to go over the general structure of this 3-tiered structure for you guys. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, because this is more related to setting the foundation after launch. You have the discovery campaigns that are auto-targeting campaigns. During launch phase, you're not starting with the discovery campaign, like I mentioned, but 14 days after you're starting the discovery campaigns, you are identifying high potential keywords, and those get fed into research campaigns. You're using broad match campaigns. You can also do phrase match campaigns. You're identifying high performing search terms, not keywords, but search terms, the exact letter by letter search terms. And then you're using those to fill in your performance campaigns, which are all exact match. You're monitoring and adjusting these over time. You're negative exact matching these in your other campaigns, so you're not double dipping here, and you can accurately measure your actual performance on them. Okay. And then you continue running this engine nonstop over time. Okay. So let's get through a couple examples here. So this was a launch that we did that we started with really good keyword research, analyzed the competition. We used relevancy filters. We ensured the listing catered to the avatar, specifically that for these high relevance keywords that we were targeting. That's a really important part of this. Identify your customer avatar. You can see in the beginning of this, there was a high ACOS, but then as time went on, the ACOS went down, the sales went up, and it ended up being a sustainable ACOS, 30% ACOS. Okay, this is going from launch to scale. Okay, this is exiting the launch phase, going into the scale phase. Again, you can see here, the ACOS goes really high when we're going from launch, and then it goes much lower, and the sales go up when the product cements its organic ranking and it stays there. And you can see your ACOS can level off, and so don't be afraid of that high ACOS in the beginning. It's really important. Sales will be low, ACOS will be high. That's normal. And then it flips, and the ACOS goes down, the sales go up once you cement your organic ranking. Okay, this is a relaunch, so this is using it not on a new product. In this case, we're really looking for organic ranking. You can see the sales went up, and this is what happened to the launch organic ranking. So when you're doing this relaunching, you're not using ACOS as the KPI. You're using the organic ranking as the KPI, and this is what happened to the organic ranking. This was it before. You can see it's mostly on page 2. You see 30, ranking 30, 20. Each one of these columns is a keyword. Okay, this is a screenshot from the data type of tracking that I was showing before. Okay, each column is a keyword. So you can see the first keyword, it was ranking 32 on the first day, 20 on for the next keyword, 10 for the next keyword, 9 on the next keyword. It wasn't ranking at all on the next keyword, 21 on the next keyword, and it's all red here. Then after the relaunch, it's ranking page 1 for a significant number of these keywords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 of these keywords it got to page 1 for. And you can see it stayed there. It's stable. It's not like jumping around because each row is a day. Okay, so each column is a keyword, each row is a day. So day by day, the ranking stuck. Okay. Some of the external factors that are going to affect your launch: the listing quality, especially the main image, the title, the copy, the secondary images, the video, the EBC. The reviews are huge. We already went over the minimum number of reviews that you want to get and the minimum review rating that you want to have. Again, this is when you lose some of these fundamentals, your focus should shift exclusively to fixing the issue in the fundamental and then back to the launch. Because this, if you like kind of ignore it and keep chugging on, it can just bite you in the butt and just insidiously infect the rest of your launch. Price. So most of the time, not all of the time, because it depends on the space, but most of the time you're going to start with an artificially lower price, because anything you can do, since you don't have the reviews and the social proof in the beginning, to increase the likelihood that somebody clicks and buys the product you want to do. So you're going to start with an artificially lower price, and then it's a tricky game raising the price again, because sometimes raising the price won't really hurt the conversion. Sometimes it won't hurt the conversion at all, but sometimes you'll see that there is actually a high responsiveness to price, and it's sensitive to price. So the products that are price sensitive, you got to be careful about the increasing of the price, but you need to get it back up to a profitable level. And that's something that you do when you're exiting the launch phase. You slowly ramp up the price to see what effect it has on the conversion rate. And again, you're tracking the conversion rate every single day. You're tracking all this data every single day. That's the most important foundation of this, is that you're tracking the data so you know when you make changes, what changes did that actually have on your real sales. The product design, of course, is one of the most important things. It's again, a foundational element to all this. And then the product demand as well. Is it like something that doesn't have specific avatars that really search for it? It's kind of just everybody because it's too broad, or is it something that you really can focus on an avatar and the demand is high, but also very specific? That's the ideal scenario for you. And of course, inventory management, don't go out of stock. That's one of the things that so many sellers will get wrong, is just don't go out of stock. Again, all the sexy hacks and the cool tricks and little tips don't mean anything if you don't have your foundation in place. And this boring, regular foundational stuff is the stuff that the most high volume sellers focus most of their effort on. That's the boring reality and truth of how to become a millionaire in this space. The free advertising that we went over before, I'm going to show you some screenshots of this. Storefronts, posts, and Amazon Live Video. These are the ways to advertise for free. So there's no excuse not having enough of a budget. You can always replace money with hustle. There's always a way to trade money for hustle. If you don't have as much money, you can make up for that with hustle. And if you don't have as much time, you can make up for that with money. Okay, the old adage, time equals money, is true. You can always trade money for time. You can always trade time for money. This is what Amazon posts look like. You can really pump a lot of these out there, as long as they're always slightly different. You can't make the same image each time, but you can even like slightly alter the image via Photoshop, and it still works. So you can do Amazon posts, and these are hit or miss. Some of them will get a lot of traffic, some of them won't. It's really hard to determine at this early stage how Amazon determines which of these posts gets traffic and which one doesn't. And I don't even think they really know. They're kind of beta testing different things. But some of these will be hits, and some of them will get a lot of traffic. And this is a way that you can just hustle to get free traffic. This is what Amazon Live Video looks like. There are ways to do this right. If you're running contests, running promotions, you can get more traffic to it. You can start a conversation with your ideal customer avatar. This is a free way to get traffic if you need it. And this is what storefronts look like. This is actually a storefront that we built. Storefronts, if you make them really, really beautiful, can be a free way to get more eyeballs. And Amazon, again, is focusing on getting more eyeballs to these types of listings. So that's it, guys. This is my email. If you want to ask any questions, this is the email to Sophie Society for me and my team. I would highly recommend taking part in Augustus's ClickBox offer for this, because what we're offering is a PPC audit. We only do usually a couple of these a month, but we are doing this for Augustus's ClickBox offer. And these audits are very, very in-depth and use the framework that I just went over with all of you guys to audit your campaigns, remove wasted ad spend, set the campaign up for success and your account up for success, and lead you in the right direction. So yeah, any questions you guys have or comments you have, or further discussions, you're welcome to reach out to me via this. And yeah, I wish you guys successful Amazon product launches.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. And to bring some context, what Chris meant is that we're running the ClickBox party here, where we invited more than 20 different Amazon experts and software creators, and we negotiated special deals. And if you purchase a ClickBox, you will find the link below in the description. This box, this package contains over 20 different offers, and from Chris, the offer is that they will give you a in-depth PPC audit for what you will find all the information on the website, and we are sharing now on the screen. So basically, we invite you to get this package and boost your Amazon business with the help of different services and tools.
Yeah, this is really rare, guys. Like we actually put a dedicated top-level PPC strategist on this, and these are the people that get paid a lot to manage accounts with millions of dollars of ad spend. There's really rare opportunity to get an expert to actually look at your list, no matter how big or small your account is, to get an expert to actually audit it for you. So it's a rare opportunity.
Perfect. And now we have a bunch of questions. Let's try to go through all of them. We have more than 10. How do you go about keeping ACOS under a certain percentage? As in, what is your bidding strategy?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so in terms of bidding strategy, you want to start in the launch phase. You're going to be using down only, because if you use up and down, then you just have less predictability and less control over the bids. Whereas if you use down only, you can increase the max bid, and then Amazon will spend less if possible, but won't go beyond the bid that you input. So bidding strategy, you always want to keep in down only. But if you're talking about more broadly, to keep the ACOS under a percentage that you're targeting, you need to continuously monitor the campaigns. And what you're going to do is basically, once you have enough data to show, and you need to have enough data, you need to have enough sales. If you have if you have less than 20 clicks and you're trying to assess, oh, is this a keyword that I want to shut down or negative exact match, then you don't really have enough data to show that. That's not really statistically significant. I mean, 20 is maybe like the minimum that you would do if you're really on a budget, because you already have 20 people that visited the listing and didn't buy. So that'd be a 5% conversion if they did. But still, it's not really enough. One of the most important foundational elements of this that I went over in the very beginning is allow enough time to pass to get enough data to make good decisions. So that's what you're doing. You allow enough time to pass to make a decision on each keyword and each campaign, how to adjust it up or down, and you have to continuously adjust it. And if you're above your target, you're adjusting it to get it down by decreasing the more high risk, high volume, low relevance keywords. And if you're below your target, you're adjusting it to increase the aggressiveness and get it up over time. So you want to be at your target, not too far below or too far up. It's not a good thing if your ACOS is really, really low during a launch phase. That means you're actually missing out on opportunity to drive more traffic.
Are you able to supply a link to that PPC data tracking spreadsheet?
Yeah, if you shoot an email to, I can't share that exact one, but I can share to you one of the example ones that we use during a PPC launch. If you just email that email, and I'll pop it over to you. hello@sophiesociety.com. I'm happy to share. It'll be similar to that. It's just our format for what we use during PPC launches.
Our viewer is asking, is it worth selling private label products now before Q4, as the person is going to launch 3 products using the rapid launch strategy with only PPC?
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good question. So if you're doing 3 products now, but before Q4, you have a very limited amount of time to get those going before the holiday buying rush that really starts at Thanksgiving, but starts before that. It starts like the beginning of November, even end of October. People are starting to buy their Christmas presents. So you have limited time here. I would say if you have the launch, if you have the inventory in stock, that's great. But the reality is, if you execute it well, you can even do this later. You can launch in November, you can launch in December. You can do that. I wouldn't wait in order to wait for the next round. I would do it anyway, but you are in a position now where you are in crunch time. If you can accelerate it every way you can possibly accelerate it, you want to target completing that launch before November, really, if you can. But certainly before Thanksgiving which is the end of November. You'd want to target completing that launch so that you've cemented your position. You can take part in the dramatic increase in traffic during the holiday buying season.
Okay, very good. So we had a couple of questions regarding when exactly the honeymoon period starts. So first question was about whether it starts when the product is live or when PPC kicks off. So let's do this first, and then we have another a little bit similar one.
Yeah, it starts when your product is active, not when PPC kicks off. So if you leave your product active for 10 days and you don't start the PPC launch protocol because you're just waiting to get reviews or you're waiting for something, you just ruined it. You just not ruined it. You can still come back from that, but you just missed a critical window of opportunity for you to set the foundation. Literally every day in that first 35 days should be viewed as like precious gold that you are spending on something. You're spending that day, each of your 35 days, you only have 35 of them in a line on your desk. Each one that you spend that day, it should be viewed as like precious. You're spending it on something important. Don't throw them away those days.
Okay, and then another one from Stacy. So she's asking, are there 2 honeymoon periods for items that go live with the future release date? For instance, page goes live in April with the release date in August.
If the product hasn't been made active, then it won't count towards your honeymoon period.
What's the best way to go from 0 to 5 reviews?
Okay.
And what's the best from 5 to 30?
Yeah. So that's good. Okay.
Yeah. Or rather from 5 to 21.
5 to 21. Yeah. Good. That's a good question. That's the right question to ask. It is different. Okay. So going from 0 to 5 is a very different strategy than going from 5 to 21. And this is it. Going from 0 to 5, you can do this by being scrappy yourself, and encouraging human beings to leave reviews without violating Amazon's terms of service in any way. But you can scrappily yourself make sure that the reviews come in. Okay. I have to be careful about the way I say this, because you need to make sure that you're following Amazon's terms of service. You don't want to violate anything, but you can use your own personal charisma and connections to ensure those reviews come in through real buyers, real people. And this is something, since it's only 5, I have 5 fingers on my right hand. Okay. That's not that many. The number 5 is so important in a product launch that, and the number 5 is also so small of a number that the smallness of the number mixed with how important the number is means that you should use your personal time as the business owner to make sure they come in through your own hustle. This is where everyone has to hustle, whether you're just starting out, you have a low budget, high budget, everyone has to hustle to make sure these 5 reviews come in, and you're doing it personally. Okay. From 5 to 21, that's a different story. That is through your systems. Okay. A lot of these are going to come in just through your sheer sales velocity and the experience the customer has when they're unboxing the product. When they're unboxing the product and they see either a product insert or the packaging itself or the product itself, whatever messaging you can have in the product insert that encourages them to get into a flow that leads them to the option to leave a review in a compliant and Amazon compliant way. Though that's really how you're going to, is by increasing sales velocity and having the systems in place that give people every opportunity to leave reviews, and ensuring that every single order you're clicking the button inside Amazon that's request a review, or using a Chrome extension like Seller Tools or any of the other ones that automatically make sure that that button is clicked for you on every single order. And and you're going to do all those things, make sure all those systems are in place. You can also use ManyChat to help with this as well, to get reviews automatically through sales velocity to get from 5 to 21. But those first 5 are your own personal hustle.
Great. Let's see. One more from the same viewer. Can you do this PPC launch strategy with a giveaway launch strategy simultaneously? Would that be more effective than the either alone?
Yes, it is. It does help the effectiveness in almost every case to include a parallel giveaway launch strategy. And that's very simple. You literally just set it up in Rebate Key or in HBUG, and you allow it to run. And like I said, 1 to 10 giveaways per day, and don't too dramatically increase the average total conversion rate of the listing when you're doing the giveaway. And that's all you need to know.
Good. We have a few more. How to structure PPC for seasonal product?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We have some products like this, and this is interesting because all the work that you would normally do throughout the year, you actually have to do like all at once. Like you actually have to like take the season and make it a year. So there has to be a lot more focus and a lot more frequent bid adjustments, a lot more frequent campaign adjustments, and keyword graduation from the campaigns, from discovery to research to performance. So it's the same structure, but it's accelerated. Like everything has to be, because you're getting a lot of traffic all at once. It's no longer about how often you do it in terms of days. It's how often you do it in terms of sessions. So whereas a normal product that sells more stable amounts throughout the year, I would do my bid adjustments once per week. In this case, maybe I'll do my bid adjustments once every 4 days because of how much traffic I'm getting. So things move much faster. So yeah, it's the same basic structure. You will have a lot more keywords in your exact match campaigns because because of these holiday or season specific keywords, or gift specific keywords. You end up with just a larger variety of them. So you have a longer list of keywords as well for these types of products.
Okay, very nice. Thank you very much. So Sarah has a question as well. So when do you generally start working on decreasing the ACOS after launch? After turning off bad keywords, do you just start decreasing the bids?
Yeah, so you start this phase 35 days in. This is when you begin to start to sharpen your ACOS, and really bring it down to a level that's sustainable while your sales, your advertising sales are representing about 35% of your overall sales. And even after launch, it'll still be artificially higher than that. It might represent still 50 or 60% of your sales, but you're ramping it down to try to get to a sustainable level of ACOS, and you determine that by calculating what ACOS you can handle based on your products, your specific products margin. And what really matters here is not ACOS, but true ACOS. So true ACOS is a percentage. That's the amount you spend on ad spend divided by the total sales, organic and PPC, instead of ACOS, which is the amount you're spending on sales divided by your revenue from those campaigns from Amazon advertising. The true ACOS, you're going to target it being under 10%. Some companies try to keep it under 8%, under 5%. There are even companies that try to keep it down to 3%. Those are really aggressive targets, but you can make it higher too. Your true ACOS could be 20% if you can stomach that. And you're really looking to still aggressively feed the organic ranking machine. But in general, you can use as a benchmark, keeping your true ACOS around 10% is healthy for a brand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So somebody's wondering how to scale sales without hurting ACOS, keep adding converting terms.
So to do that, you're going to run this machine that I mentioned that has that feedback loop, that has discovery, research, and performance. Just effectively run that feedback loop, run that machine. That's all it takes, literally. That's how you scale your sales without hurting ACOS. And you can get more or less aggressive in those campaigns and ramp it up or down depending on how they go. So if your ACOS is being hurt too much while you're scaling your sales, you can ramp down your aggressiveness and ramp down the speed at which you're running that feedback loop. And if it's too low, and there is a too low, people don't realize this. Like, people will brag about how their ACOS is 15%. That's nothing to brag about. You're not maximizing your sales at that point. You need to get more aggressive because you could be making more advertising sales, but someone else is making those instead of you because you're being too conservative. So there is a too high and there is a too low. You have to determine for yourself based on your true ACOS that you can take based on your product margin, what true ACOS you want. Use that to back calculate the ACOS target, and then use that as the benchmark and always stay as close to that as you possibly can.
All right. So I see it doesn't work with you like light speed questioning. We're spending 20 minutes, but people are firing questions. At a light speed. Okay, we have a few more.
Man, all right. I promise I will go faster.
Rami wants to know when to start increasing the budget and what is the strategy.
Yeah, so you start increasing that budget in that catapult phase that I mentioned. You can increase the budget a little bit during that optimize phase 15 days in, but you're really going to increase the budgets hardcore in that last phase of the launch where you have more social proof on the listing, and you're going to increase them as much as you can stomach, basically, specifically for the purpose of ranking. And the campaigns you really want to increase the budgets on are the ranking campaigns.
Very fast. Next one, what's the best way to track review count?
The best way to do this is using a VA manually, and you input it into the spreadsheet day by day, the number of reviews that you got that day and the total count of reviews.
There is no software which tracks, right?
You can, but I'm not a fan of it because if you literally just set up an SOP, like data entry is so cheap, it allows you to be agile. You don't have to worry about switching this API or that API. It's so simple and so easy, and it's so cheap. You might as well just have a VA just inputting it, and then you can change it anytime.
All right, I think that's it. Or you think, Lisette, we have something else?
I think Chris promised to dance for us in the end, but otherwise, question-wise, I think we covered all the questions.
I was dancing the entire time that my song was being played. So,
which is
all right.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. And if you want to get help from Chris and his team, Chris, can you shortly tell us what you do and how you help if people will visit orangeclick.sophiesociety.com?
Yeah, so orangeclick.sophiesociety.com will bring you to the page that allows you to get converting content from Sophie Society. So a lot of people don't know this. We do all the back-end content for a lot of the top courses and top masterminds in this space. We do back-end content for a tight network. We do it for private label masters. We do it for ASM. We do it for a really large 8 and 9-figure brands, but we also do it for normal sellers. Everything is completely data backed. Augustus and I put this page together to give you guys special access to these converting increasing services. And so you can get your images from us finally designed. And this is literally like by Amazon guys for Amazon guys. You can get EBC or A+ content from us, and this uses our own formula. You'll find videos from Augustus and I walking through the EBC formula. We'll do it for you. And you can get listing copy from us. And again, that's the type of copy that speaks to both the algorithm, the A9 algorithm, and people to have the most high converting possible listing. And this is all based on data. This is based on the data from the thousands of listings that we've done, tracking our own hypotheses about what will work on those listings before and after every single one that we've done. So check it out.
Yeah, and basically you help with other aspects of Amazon business, right? Like PPC and management.
Everything that I mentioned about PPC launch and also long-term PPC management, we do that for brands.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. And once again, check the link below for the Klik box and the offer. And thank you, Chris. Thank you, Lisette. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
And now I would like to invite you to watch the video Chris just mentioned, where he is breaking down the A+ EBC content formula, how you can set it up yourself, and it should increase your conversions and sales and profit and life.